So, welcome to another episode of the APX Podcast. And in today's episode, it's going to be part two on how to prepare for an interview. So, last time I talked about things and equipment and aesthetics before getting into an interview. This time around, I'm going to be talking about the things that you have to prepare for the interview itself. So, for example, the materials you need to prepare, what to expect, questions, and many more. But starting off, the very first thing that you need to prepare before an interview is do research on the company that's going to interview you. Do research about who they are, what their culture is all about, and this will help you see if you're a good fit for their company. The second thing I would prepare is do research about the position that you're applying for. Many times people just go into the interview without even trying to check the detailed information regarding the position that's being offered. You need to be detail oriented because the position may require a specific requirement that you may not have. And so if you're able to pinpoint those requirements that are in need and they're not a great fit for you, then there's no reason for you to get into that interview. Next one is really common. People get into the interview without having their CV printed or at least opened on their computer. And that's very important because most of the time interviewers would interview you based on what your CV or resume is all about. So it's much better to have a printed copy or a digital copy that you can access anytime the interview would ask you on a certain detail on your resume or CV. It's always best to have it accessible and prepped up right in front of you. Of course, the next bit that you need to prepare is in the case that you have an existing portfolio, even if it's just a passion project, make sure you have your portfolio prepped up and ready to be accessed and sent just in case they ask for it. If you have zero experience as a VA, it would be best to come up with passion projects or at least volunteer in some projects for free in order for you to build your portfolio. It's always best to bring something during the interview. So the next thing that you need to prepare is a brief summary about yourself, your skills, and your experience. Nothing too long, nothing too short, but just a brief summary of who you are, what you can do, and what experience you have. When you're about to get interviewed, make sure you put your phone on silent. Make sure you update your softwares because at times where you get into the interview, for example, it's a Zoom interview. And when you try to get into the link, automatically any software that's connected to that link sometimes needs an update. And updates on any type of software, whether it's Zoom, Google Meet, or any other similar applications, sometimes need updates. And updates may take a while and may cause a delay for you to get into the interview. So try to remove that type of risk and keep your softwares updated before you get into an interview. The next thing you need to do before an interview, at least get into the interview room 5 to 10 minutes earlier. You never know what may happen during those times. It's much better to be early and prepared instead of you rushing to the room at the exact time of the interview. You being in that interview 5 minutes before shows a high sense of responsibility and professionalism to the one interviewing you. Never make it a habit to get on the interview late or on time. Being at least 5 minutes early gives a very good lasting impression to the interviewer. Here's one that I'm sure everyone goes through. Prepare a very good, valid reason on why that company or interviewer should hire you. This is the one question that a lot of people fail in and most of the time blanks out when the question arises. So create a very good, valid reason on why that company should pick you amongst all the other applicants that they've interviewed. The next one is 95% of most applicants that don't prepare this part. Prepare a set of questions about the company, about the position that's being offered. When the interviewer is done interviewing you, they would usually ask an applicant if they have any questions for them. And 95% of the time, applicants would say they have no questions. Why is it important to have questions about the company and the position? It shows that you have a certain level of interest in working with that company. It also shows that you are detailed and keen on particular things that the company may have missed out on the job description. So always prepare a set of questions that you know that may be missing from the job offer or the company website, or any question that you think may matter to you. Just for example, the time and schedule of that certain position. The last thing you need to prepare is your personality. Don't set up a personality that is not you. Be yourself. Prepare to be yourself. Be your character, and don't pretend to be someone else. Here's a bonus pro tip for all of you guys trying to get into an interview. Practice, practice, practice. It's important to practice in mock interviews. You could have your dad, your brother, your mom interview you, and you could practice and practice until you get your answers perfect.